Okay, I am back, and in the previous video, we made many different types of furniture. We made a bench, a different kind of bench, which is just like the bottom of this bench with the back cut off, which would be extremely uncomfortable, I feel like. And this seat, one of my favorite kinds of seats, and two different kinds of table, this table first, then this table. And in this video, we will make some more tables just for fun, because it was actually pretty fun seeing how you could take this cylinder and make it into a more interesting shape. So we will make some rectangular tables and some more weird looking chairs. And I think that's about it, so let's get started. So now, I'm just going to take this table I have here, and actually instead of doing that, I'll just take the original. So what you want to do is you want to go to your plus tool, right over here, on your build tools, and you want to add a cylinder. And how you do that is you go over to the left side of your screen while you're on your plus tool on your build tool, and you want to select cylinder. And I'll just show you guys one more time. So make sure you're in a building game on Roblox, right? And not like a Minecraft building game, like an F3X building game. And go down to your build tool, go to the plus tool over here on your build tools, and select cylinder out of this list, and then add a cylinder. Then go to your rotate tool, which is the C tool on your build tab, rotate it around, lift your cylinder up into the air, click on it, go over to the paint bucket tool, and then paint it brown, like poop, and then go over to the N tool or the gear tool, and then go over to the left side of your screen, and set it to wood plank. Now we have the same thing as that over there. Now we're just going to use our scaling tool, which is the X tool. And you want to make sure that your scaling tool, X tool, or bubble tool, those are all words for the same tool, has its increment over here on the left set to 0.0001 so that you get a nice smooth resizing. So now we have a nice little table here. But what if we want our table to look better, right? It's not just a log. So we click on it, we hit Shift-C, we make a copy of the original table. And Shift-C is to copy. We go ahead and lift this thing up. We flatten it out with our bubble tool or resize tool. And we lift it a little bit more. We make a copy, Shift-C, and pull the copy out of the old one. And set it down on the ground like this. And something fun we can do with this is we can make another copy and just slowly make like a connection. And you'll see what I'm going to do here. Make sure on your resizing tool you have the both on while you do what I'm doing right here. Now I'm going to make another copy, and you can resize again. And you can make all sorts of crazy shapes for your table. This shape might not necessarily be very pretty, but it still will look interesting. Then we make a little bit smaller of a shape. There you go. Looks wonky, don't it? And this is still a table. It feels a little heavy. Another thing we can do with it is we can make a copy of the top of this new table, like this, Shift-C, move it over here, and we can make maybe like a classical table, right? Is how I would refer to this. You go over in your resize tool and set it to both, and make the table a little bigger, tabletop. Then make a copy of your tabletop. Leave your resize tool on both. Shrink it way down. Now we're going to give this sort of stick legs. This is how most people, I feel like, think of a table. You have these legs, and they come down, right? And all I'm doing right now is I'm copying, right? I click on this and I go Shift-C and I'm making a copy. And what I'm going to do now here is I'm going to click on this, hold shift, click on this, and then hit shift C and make a copy of two things at once. Now we have sort of a nice card table or a nice eating table. As this was more of a side table or like a column, and same with this one, you can see how all I did was take this, shrink it down to make a flat tabletop, and then copy it, shrink it down to make like a column to support it. And then the next thing you can really do with tables is decorate them, because these are really the only types of tables that exist if I make a copy here and show you. So it pretty much goes from this being the father table, the table that turns into this table, and this table turns into this table. So the next step is we make this table look nicer. And now we can copy this table, and we can change its material up a little bit, and we can also change how it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete my tabletop. I'm going to add a block, and how you do that is you go to the plus sign over here, and you click on it, and you set it to normal, click the ground, and we're going to move this block up and set it out a little bit. Then we're going to shrink it down with our X tool and make it really thin. Because what we're going to try and do here is make a glass table. And it's pretty much going to be the same as this. You'll just be able to see through it. And we might have to also change the position of the legs. So now you can see what I've done here is I shrunk my block down to be really small, made a copy of it, and put it over here. And now I've selected both of my blocks. I've selected the rotate tool over here, and I'm now going to hit Shift C, which makes a copy of both blocks at the same time. And now I'm going to slowly spin them around, but I have to change my increments because I just realized I didn't set that. So go over to the left side of your screen on the rotate tool and set your increment over here to be 1. And now we can make a perfectly circular ring with nothing in the middle. See how I can stand in the middle? And I'm going to try and do it faster, and how you can do it faster is you click off in the middle of nowhere, hold your click, drag, select everything, and then hold Shift C, and make more copies, and then do that again, and now the ring is done way faster. So the next step is we put our glass in, and how you put your glass in is we go over to our old table, we click on it, we hold Shift C, which makes a copy, we turn this into glass with the gear tool. Here's the gear tool. We go over to the left side of the screen where material is, and we can either set it to be smooth plastic with transparency or glass with transparency. And I'm going to set it with glass with transparency. And transparency, once again, is on the left, 0.7, which gives you a nice see-through piece of glass. I'm going to make it thinner, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of our table, which can take some time, considering that I didn't use like lines and stuff to find the center point. Now you have this big glass table, and all we have to do is put it on the old legs. Like so. And they're pretty much the same table. All you have done is you've changed the material. So now I'm going to make some square tables. So pretty much all I did was copy a piece of my seat, but you guys will probably have to add a new block. And how you add a new block is on your build tool, you go over to the plus sign, click the ground, and you should add a new block unless in your block tool you have something else selected. And if you have something else selected, select normal on your part type, and then click the ground. Now, what I'm going to do with my block is I'm just going to resize it. And now I've already made the basic square wood table, or in this case a rectangle, but depending on how you look at a rectangle, it can be a square or a rectangle, which is something no mathematician would ever like to talk about. So, now we just take our rectangular table over to somewhere where it's easy to work with, and we start changing it just like what we did with our sort of circular cylinder table, right? We took this table from being a thick log and cut it down into sort of a stool or a little side table, and we made it then into a big sitting table and then into a glass table. And we're going to do the same thing with our square table, right, or rectangle table. We're just going to take this, and we know that we can set it like this, right, and we can set at it with a buddy or two or three. But now, if we want, we can copy it and resize it and give it some square legs. So now all I'm going to do is copy it, set my resize to normal. Remember to set your resize back to normal. And there's several different ways you can do a square table / rectangle table. You can do it like this, where it has legs on one side or the other, which is how you get a desk, right? So right now I'm still considering this a table. It's not a desk yet. But if I copy this, right, copy it, and I shrink it down, now it's a desk. So you can see how from our rectangle block of wood that you made, now you can make your table, and then you can make your desk. I hope you guys are still following along and I'm not going too fast. If I am, I can always make another video. The next step is how we take our table with legs that has a tabletop and divide our legs. So we take this, and literally all we do is shrink these. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my move tool, holding shift, clicking, and then going over to the resize tool and shrinking. Right, so I shrank these, but now it looks like it's hanging. So now I'm going to hold shift, click on both legs, hold shift again, and hold shift C. And now we have a table with 4 legs. As you can see, they're all related to each other, and they're all very similar. The next thing you do is a long table, which is directly related to this table, actually. So, if you want to have a long table, all you do is move the legs out, and use your resize tool to extend this. And, really, if you would like to think about it, all seats are tables. But you aren't here for the philosophy of things. And I think this is all I'm going to make. The video is about done. So, have a good one.